Ah! Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Stratosphere Lounge coming to you from the Stratosphere Lounge. Now, what is she doing playing? Do you have the mute on there? Oh, it's me. It's me. It's the Stratosphere Lounge with about a 5-6 second feedback. I'm coming to you live from my own iPad, but you know what? We're getting there. We're actually getting there. You're talking to a man who may seem a little further away from the camera than he has in the past, but it's only because we have a second camera, a close-up camera. My God, let's see what the fans are saying. Are they going mild? Are they going mildly wild over this? We'll see. It is good to be here. Really good to be here. You're gonna have to mute that down, I think. Well, I'm hearing my own iPad. That's what it is. Jeez, it's freaking me out. You know, we're gonna get the hang of this eventually. But here is everybody got 21. Hey, I can see myself and everything. If it seems like it's running a little slow, we just saw a comment there that says running a little bit slow with lots of stalls, because we're actually recording in HD and we're streaming in HD, and we can stop doing that next time if it turns out that's not working. But I thought, hey man, let's do like a big splash opening. A big splash opening with a big banner. There's the homunculus bill, the small tiny servant bill, which is brought to you from out of the depths of time. And we're back to a close-up. And I have to tell you guys honestly, this is the first show of version 2.0 of the Stratosphere Lounge. We have the lovely Astrogirl Desiree Gabrielle on the boards, as we say in the professional kinds of webcasts that we have going these days. We don't, dick around like we used to when it was just one guy pointing at a webcam. We got 2 cams now. We got actually 3. So we can always bring in a 3rd cam for having our guests. As you can see on this magnificent stage, we got room for more guests, and we can have a wide shot with the 2 of us, and then we can have crossing close-ups like this one, and then there'll be another one. So, we're actually starting to get to the place where it's starting to look like, you're getting your money's worth out of this goat rodeo and clown car show. It is great to be here. I was chatting with Des, as I always do. She's making sure that I've got my clothes on. I'm not running into furniture or anything. And I said, we've been through so much trying to get this stage up, get the stage up, get the banner up, get the office, the studio. I keep calling it the office. It's not an office, it's a studio. And we went to so much trouble getting this done and spent a ton of money. And I said to her just before we went on the air, I said, because we finally got the cameras working, we got these HD Zeiss lens cameras, and we got them zoomed in. That in itself is an adventure I'll tell you about in a minute. But just before we went on, we got to look at the shots and the audio, and got this awesome new microphone. And I said to her, I don't mind spending the money, and I don't even mind spending the time, as long as we get what we want, out of it. And I'm getting what I want out of it. I think it looks absolutely great. Hey, look at that. Lori and Greg Adams say full screen on my 22-inch screen. I'll bet it's spectacular. Check it out. Here's a homunculus bill. It's like 7 bills in one frame here, if you really think about it. It's kind of amazing. So I'm having the time of my life, guys. I'm sitting here in front of my Stratosphere Lounge banner, in front of my little Stratosphere Lounge assistant dude, as you can see here. And life is grand. It's absolutely grand. And we have all kinds of fun things to talk about. We got some questions we're going to take from the Facebook page, as always. But I thought, since it's version 2, the first of the new series, we got a new look. We got HD video. And I thought I'd tell you a little bit about some of the missteps that we took to get here, because there were a few. All of them well-intentioned, mind you. The biggest one probably was the, Dez's catastrophic failure of live stream too strong a term, or would you call it more of a disaster or a catastrophe? A bad choice. Yeah. Well, let me tell you one thing about Desiree. There's so much I could tell you about Desiree and how none of this would work without her. But of all the things that Desiree is most useful for, it's to walk me off the ledge of emotional suicide, basically. Because every time it's like, it's a catastrophe. It's a bad choice. So let me just give you a quick little walk through the Ustream Ustream live stream thing. Calm now, nice and calm. Everybody, be calm. Good, nice and calm. Okay. What we thought we would do is we thought we'd go to live stream for a number of reasons. The first reason, and really the main reason, was we wanted to get away from the ads. Because we know the ads just bother the hell out of everybody. They bothered the heck out of me, too. So Livestream had no ads. We liked that. And we're looking at Livestream. We're looking at the various upgrades. And Livestream had these really cool little red boxes that I showed you on the website. And what these boxes do is they take the screen out of an HD camera, because we have some really, really nice 1080 Blackmagic cameras that we've got for time over target, which we'll be talking about in a minute. And so we got these cameras for this really nice cameras, and we thought, great, we'll do the Stratosphere Lounge on those. We'll hook up the little red live stream boxes. We'll stream out of the really great cameras, the expensive cameras, and we'll be good to go. And studio friend BillWhittle.com, Stratosphere Lounger friend Ian came on up, Ian Branson, and we spent a night working on this. I was not in the best of moods. Sorry about that, Ian. I was pretty cranked about the reaction to the Ferguson decision, and we just spent a couple hours in here. By the way, as we start to get into this, we got the little red boxes, and the little red boxes from Livestream look cool. They were really cool little boxes. They look really well made. I'm thinking, yay! And then we go to install the software to see how the boxes are working, and we go to Livestream to download the software, and it turns out that that Livestream does not support software for this Macintosh, which is kind of a one-of-a-kind computer that we got from our friends in Uzbekistan. No one's ever heard of it here in America, the Macintosh computer, so they didn't build any software to support the Macintosh, which I consider to be a bit of a problem, So it had to be PC-based, so I went out and bought a PC, and then our good friend Ian comes along and says, don't buy the PC. It's like, sorry, I'm already heading back from Best Buy. So Ian says, no, we've got emulation software that we'll install for you, and that'll allow you to run the PC inside the brand new Super Space Turbine Mac that I spent a ton of money on, and works great, that new Mac. So now we're running PC software through the Mac, and we hook up the cameras, and man, is it slow. It's really laggy. We think it's broadcasting back to the network and then back downstream. We tried to get it hooked up to the local Wi-Fi. We had a little bit of success with that, but the lenses on the new cameras were really slow, needed a lot of light. And it was kind of fuzzy. So, and we couldn't get the cameras recognized by Livestream. We spent hours in here, hours, trying to get this thing going. And the last thing I did before I got the cameras in was I plugged in the new USB webcam, which I'd bought earlier, the Zeiss, mit der Zeiss lens, the superb optics of the Zeiss camera. And I put that camera into Livestream, and bam, came up right, like you just instantly saw it, instantly. And so I went out and got a couple more of these awesome Logitech C920 webcams. Got 3 of them because the image quality, as you can see, is terrific. So far, so good. Except that once we get the PC software for Livestream running on the PC, which lives inside the Mac, we start to go importing some of our graphics, the graphic titles cards that you've seen and the music that we use and I Know a Place and all these sound files. And the Livestream software is saying, do not recognize the JPEG format, the exotic JPEG format, which wasn't recognized by the Livestream PC software. I forget what kind of images were recognized, but JPEG I don't think was one of them. We tried importing JPEGs, didn't work. All of our files are WAV files, I guess, the audio files, or MP4s, I guess, and it wanted to see WAV files, and it said accept AVI files, but no .mov files. This may seem very arcane for those of you that are in any part of the business, but honestly, it's really like going back to 1998. So anyway, at the end of this evening, we're still kind of just barely hanging on to Livestream with our fingernails. And then finally we say, well, maybe we're using the free software. There's a $700, $800 version of the Livestream broadcaster, I guess it was. Let's just buy that, and hopefully it'll unlock all this stuff, because the cameras were coming in at like super low resolution and really slow and really blurry. And I knew it wasn't the cameras because I plugged them in, launched Ustream, which you're watching now. It worked great. So we buy the software, and we spend $800. And they take our credit card number, and we fill it out, and I'm going to find the link where we download the new software, and it says delivery address. We said, what do you need a delivery address for? It's probably just a formality. They give us a backup or something. Well, as it turns out, to get the unlocked software, we have to wait until the dongle arrives. I think we talked about that on the rehearsal that we did last week, which has not been saved, so it's probably new to you guys. Maybe it is saved, come to think of it. The dongle, you may remember a dongle if you were in the computer business back in 1975 or 80 or so. I remember dongles from the late 90s, mid-90s to late 90s. And a dongle, for those of you who don't know the term, is a little piece of hardware that used to attach to the printer port and sometimes the serial port on the back of your computer. And okay, so they're going to send me a little USB dongle that protects the software. It doesn't They don't have an access code. They don't have they don't have an unlock thing. No, just got to wait for this dongle to arrive. So I'm thinking now I have to wait for the stagecoach to pull up. I'll be able to tell by the sound of the horses clopping on the cobblestones outside underneath the gaslight of our office here, and they can unload the dongle along with the barrels of molasses and the hoop corsets that I ordered last week. They'll all arrive at the same time. And at that point, guys, honestly got to tell you, I was pretty much done. I was just done. We'd spent so much time and effort and delayed so many times. And I thought, I don't know. So screw it. So we'll go back to Ustream because it's looking so good. And so far, so good. Now, there's one more little hiccup here to let you know what my day looks like. People often say, Bill, what's your day look like? And most of my day, I would say 18, 19, 20, 22 hours, Des will testify to this, is spent me lying on the couch looking at the ceiling so that my head doesn't explode, so that the veins in my brain don't just pop out. Because once we made the decision to go back to Ustream, everything's copacetic, everything's great, the webcams are working great. We know they zoomed because we zoomed them in on the PC on live stream, and we hook up these Logitech C920 cameras, and they are as wide angle as you can see on the wide shot. If you go to the wide shot, can you switch the wide real quick for me? Des, thanks. That's as wide as the wide shot is, and it didn't get any closer. In other words, in order to get a close-up shot like the one you see in the close-up, I had to bring the camera here. No fooling, it had to be here because the cameras wouldn't zoom. Why wouldn't they zoom, you might ask? Well, as it turns out, I spent an hour or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 hours probably, on the web researching why the Logitech C920 cameras don't zoom. The C910 does, but the 920 doesn't. Why? Because Logitech doesn't want it to, that's why. It just doesn't work on the Mac. It works on the PC because apparently they're in real tight with Windows, and it doesn't say does not work on Macintosh on the box. It just plugged and played, looked great, but you could zoom at one tiny little level, like from 1 to 1.4 or something. And I, at this point, was really done. I ended up buying like 2 or 3 apps trying to get these cameras to zoom, and just when I was about finished, I finally bought an app, and I was able to get the cameras to zoom in, not all the way, on the little software that I bought on the close-up. It'll zoom into the, damn near to the pixels here. But I was able to get it to zoom in enough to get the close-up. So we're here, and it was an effort, and it cost me a lot of brain cells. A lot of brain cells that could have been productively used for more efficient purposes, but nevertheless, it's done. So as you can see in all its glory, you are now watching the Stratosphere Lounge, coming to you from the Stratosphere Lounge on the stage of the Stratosphere Lounge, and there's room here for guests up on top, as I mentioned, and as it turns out, we'll do the walkthrough next week of the new studio. We'll run the old studio walkthrough first, so that'll blow your minds. And then we'll show you the new studio, which is basically we're just mopping up now. We'll do the new walkthrough, and there's a pretty decent-sized couch here in the Stratosphere Lounge, just off camera, right over that way. And we're thinking we might do the show kind of in front of a live audience, a pretty select live audience, because you can't get much more than, I don't know, what would you say, Astro Girl, maybe 10 people in here, tops, 6 comfortably, 10 if everybody's sitting on their own laps and, kind of thing. But it'd be fun, and it'd be a fun thing to offer members, and come on down and enjoy the show live and give us a little thing to react to. So we're thinking about doing that, actually. Pretty much thinking about doing that every week. So if you want some couch space, you can just send an email to info@billwhittle.com, and we'll take our members first. And if it turns out there's room after the members, then we'll open it up to Facebook fans. But again, we have this kind of line we have to walk where we have to give our paying members something of some value, and God knows I don't know what the value in this is, but if they're going to be if they're going to go for it, I just say milk the suckers, right, Des? That's our motto. It's right on the front door. Milk the suckers. No, we really do want to make it as valuable as possible for everybody. So that's a good segue to talk about some other things before we get into the questions. Not going to do a super long show tonight, but sure, I'm liking it. So anyway, we got the cameras all sorted out. We got this really cool little mic that you can see. I know you're used to seeing the gigantic Yeti space mic, which sits on the desk, and we're trying to hook that up so that you can hear Astro Girl's comments every now and then. We tried doing it and kind of knocked this one offline. I don't want to wait and mess around. We'll deal with that later. It's a problem for another time. We'll come back to that. But these microphones are just really cool, and it looks really cool. And just so you can see, if we can go to the close-up for a sec, Des, you'll see that these things, when it comes out of the box, it comes out like this. I don't want to close that overly too much because that's over the ports. But it comes out of the box just like this. Looks great. And then you peel these little things back, to reveal the jacks, but it also makes a cool little tripod. It just stands on its little legs like a little rocket, like, one of those Tin rockets, and I just love it. I think it's super cool. And we got 2 of them because we're going to have guests on the show. So we'll both be able to do our thing here and have ourselves a final time, and we're really, really, really looking forward to it. Seems that somebody is hearing slight but repetitive audio blips. Well, there may still be a couple bugs to work out, and we're getting on that, guys. So just if you can hear us at all, we're pretty happy about that. I think, I'm looking at the image here. It's a little delayed, but it's fantastic, man. I'm as happy as I can be. I think the color looks good. The blue looks good. Looks like a show. So, without further ado, let's do a little segue into Time Over Target. What's coming up for our members in Time Over Target, which we've been threatening to reveal for weeks now. Delays with everything, but we're about ready to go. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you 2 clips first, and what Time Over Target is going to be. All I've got is the background elements for the plate. For those of you who don't know, Time Over Target is going to be a daily show for members, and one day, Monday through Friday. We take your questions. We're going to start the show, and then when I start, we read the question on the air. And the second I stop reading, we start a 3-minute countdown clock on the video, and I get an iPad held up with a 3-minute countdown clock. And the conceit is that by the time we get down to 0, I have to be finished with my answer. It's a 3-minute show. It's 3 minutes whether I'm 5 minutes or not. The show is 3 minutes. My answer may take 9 minutes, but the show is 3. So what I have to do is watch that countdown clock, and I have to try and time this so that I get the answers to end right about at time. So what's going on in the background is this. I originally thought that I would have nothing but either bomb camera footage or AAA footage. So I thought what you were going to see was me keyed into full screen footage, and I haven't had a chance to really cut it yet. These are just grabs off of the YouTube. But Des, if we can go ahead and roll that first one. So I would be keyed, I thought, into this kind of stuff, and I thought I would have that full frame with me in front of it, which looks kind of cool, but you can see that it's square, and I'd have to push even more. And I like the fact that it looked kind of blurry and weird, and and all that other stuff. And I was going to take all these things and sort of get them down. That's the stuff that you're seeing now is the ground-based footage. If you can roll the second one, Des, the one you got queued up. And then I was hoping it should just fire up in a second. You'll see this next clip that's coming up. You can see some F-117s from the air, and you can see a lot of ground-based targets. So all of this stuff in the background, getting closer and closer and closer to our target. There's a great shot coming in right now. You can see looking down on the Iraqi broadcasting building. I think that was from the 1990-91 air war. We'll take the shots of the planes out as much as I hate to see it. So you'll see all these targets that you see there, right? So this was going to be full frame with me in front of it. But I'm looking online, and I got a hold of a really cool, some really cool source footage. So what I'm going to do is, instead of having the footage that you're seeing now, we won't show the airplanes, but the ground footage targets. Instead of seeing that footage full frame with me in front of it, it's going to be in a little box. And I want to show you what we're going to put in full frame because this stuff is really cool. Let's go ahead and show the next one. So this is what's going to be I'm in front of. I'm going to be in front of these digital backgrounds, and all the bomb camera footage is going to be in a little box right through them. This is the third one, so you can see them coming up. All these digital things, will let them develop a little bit, and you'll get a better idea. Here you go. So I'm going to mix them up a little bit and so on. This next one's kind of cool. I like that. And this next one after that is really, really cool. So you can see I'm going to be in front of this. There's going to be a little window with the data stuff. Go ahead and run that last one, Des. Not that one yet. Hold on to that one. Is that the last one, or is there one after that? Okay, so this one, hold on to that. Just let that play for a second. So that digital thing looks kind of cool. That's going to be sort of our main, kind of our reading the question kind of thing. And then what I'm going to show you next, not yet, I'll tell you in a second. This is a Photoshop project that I downloaded, and I'll just show you. The next thing you're going to see is going to be the main title for Time Over Target. And the main title will look like this, but instead of the box, you're seeing basically a template with slugs in it. So inside the box will be that super cool shot of the stealth fighter glowing green over Baghdad. Just a black arrow, basically, will be in the box, and it'll say Time Over Target with the digital thing. And then where you see the other text here, it'll say with Bill Whittle. So Let's go ahead and run that, Des. This will be the opening for time over target. Wait, it comes in like that. That's just bad. I just really like that a lot. I just think that's super, super cool. So yeah, in the box will be the green stealth fighter, and then in where it says I can't even read it from here, but the yellow letters will say with Bill Whittle, so you can switch me back to studio if you don't mind. And ta-da! So that's going to be really cool. And there's Laurie and Greg Adams again with Tron. Yeah, it's got a real Tron vibe. It's got kind of a Matrix vibe to it. It's got a real digital vibe. Yeah, there's Deborah got it before I could even say it. Kind of Tron Matrix sort of thing. But it'll be really kind of high-tech looking and really professional and smooth and slick. I'll probably do something to treat the video too. Maybe give myself a little kind of a TV effect so I look like a hologram. You know, it's funny. It's funny how the video, not just the video quality, but just the whole idea of production values. It means a lot to me. I think it's really, 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 really important. I think it's very important. Next week, I think, we're going to talk about some stuff I want to do that I may move because it's a good step between what I'm doing now and Big Bad Problems. I don't want to talk about it just yet, but I've got an idea to do a really, really cool conservative video that no one's... I mean, when I say a video, it's like it's unlike anything anyone's ever seen. And I'll save that till next week. But I'll do it. Oh, SD6104. He obviously knows that he's in the Museum of Star Trek. I wish I could pan this camera. Oh, you know what? I'm going to pan it around. Hang on a second. Don't move. Everybody stay right where you are. Because what he did was he put working with capital letters on it. And but you need to read that with the original computer voice on the original Star Trek series. Working. All the relays, the relays in that super advanced computer. Working. So check it out. You're actually not just in the Stratosphere Lounge. You're next to the Museum of Star Trek. Hang on a second. How bad is that? I'm going to turn a little light on it so you can see it. No, I'm not, because if I do, I'll rip the headphones out. But you get the general idea. Right next to me here is Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise, and in the three boxes are three different Enterprises. I turn the lights off. I'll get some lights on them next time. But the TV show Enterprise is on the top, the movie Enterprise in the middle, and then the kind of a hybrid of the new movie Enterprise and another movie Enterprise on the bottom. But working is working well for us here. So let's see here. Bring this baby back. And that was done fairly well. We didn't set anything on fire. And there we go. Okay, so yeah, you can tell it's not a bad place. Silent Glove says, Bill, do you remember the video toaster? I do remember the video toaster. I had so much fun with the video toaster. The video toaster was awesome. Hang on. Nope, that's the other direction. There we go. Yeah, real quick, the video toaster was a piece of hardware that came out in I would say about 93 is when I started using it. It did all kinds of built-in digital effects, and I think that's where Lightwave 3D first appeared on the digital toaster. I love the digital toaster. I thought it was really awesome. Let me just tilt this one more time, then I can relax. Marvelous. Yeah, so I do remember the video toaster. So let me just say one more thing here before we move on and start taking a couple questions here. It's a little related to what I said earlier. This thing is Office. We thought this off. Well, when I say we, I'm sure Des didn't because she's got a brain and sense of realism. But I thought that getting this Office studio ready might take 2 to 3 weeks. How long has it been? 12? Something? 10 to 12 weeks? Yeah. Yep. Well, coming back to what I said earlier, a lot of time, a lot of money, delays and everything, but the main thing is, does it look the way you want it to? And when we do that walkthrough next week, you're not going to believe your eyes. You just won't believe your eyes. I walk in here every day now, and it's just like, oh. And the delivery guys come in, just the UPS guys, pick up for, and they walk in the door, it's like, what is this place? It's Wonderland, baby. It's the Bridge of the Enterprise. It's Disneyland for adults. That's what it is. And it's like anything else. It's like it took a lot of work, a lot of effort, and a lot of time and a lot of money. but we got it exactly the way we want it. We're going to be here for at least 3 years and maybe more. When you walk in that front door and you see Astro Girl there, she's 7 feet tall, six feet tall to the top of the bubble. And she's pointing a blaster right at the door. And when I first talked to this handyman guy, who's a big liberal, actually, sweet man. I'm actually thinking about ripping everything out and starting again because I don't want him to leave. He's a really great guy. And I was telling him about this idea of offset things with a neon backlit or the LED backlighting and stuff. And I told him I rolled out the Astro Girl poster on the ground. I said she should be like right there, and she's 6.5 feet tall and just this giant thing backlit. She's pointing the gun right at the camera in the artwork for Astro Girl. And he said, it'd be wild. It'd be really wild if you got like a motion sensor, so that when you came in the door, like an LED flashed in the nozzle of the ray gun, and it made like a space sound. And maybe we could put like a little smoke pop or something. And I said, this is the guy for us. This is the guy for us. This is who we need. Brent, our friend Brent Gates said it's Neverland. That's right. It's a place where I don't have to grow up. Thank God. So, anyway, I don't know if you guys are as impressed with it as I am, and I think next week we'll do the walkthrough. And when you see the video walkthrough, it's different than the stills, because when you see the video walkthrough, it's Wonka's Chocolate Factory. I just can't even get it out. I'm so excited. We even got a gym in here, a little home gym. It's really an expensive place just to hold, hang the coat, but it is really just cool. It's just cool, and we're really having a lot of fun doing it. So let's do some questions, why don't we? And then not too long tonight, but we'll do an hour of questions, and then we'll get this thing online in its super HD 720 format. May even try 1080 next time because we're feeling cavalier. And then we will get down to brass tacks really next week. We'll do a theme show next week, I think. Maybe pick a theme, and we'll get down to that. And I think maybe next week I really want to talk about this idea of messaging, because I really want to do a video. I had a really profound thought about this coming back from the Freedom Center stuff in Florida a couple weeks ago, and I am just completely convinced that I've got a real insight in a way to make this happen. And this is the last thing I'll tease about it, because I will talk about it in depth hopefully next week. But people talk about, gee, can we be a little younger? Can we be hipper? Yes, we can be younger and hipper, and yes, we can be funny. But I'm telling you, there's one thing that conservatives have never been, that I'm aware of, and I mean to make it happen, by God, and that is sexy. We've never been sexy, and I'm going to make it sexy. I'm going to make conservatism sexy, and I don't mean sexy in kind of an intellectual, nerdy kind of way. I mean smoking hot sexy, and I'll tell you how we're going to do that next week, because it's a great idea, and we got some great people involved with it, and you know who you are. Okay, so let's see. Some questions, why don't we? Let's just take them live off of the iPad. How about that? We'll just look at them in order.